Set. Places, everybody. And action.
It's time once again for the Hooked on Movies podcast. Today is Ted's pick. We're doing the 1995 release, Empire Records. And of course, with me are, as always, Ted.
It's Rex Manning Day.
And Ken.
Eric, listening to this crap is guaranteed to make you sterile.
That it is. That it is. And of course, I'm Eric. Damn the man. Save the Empire. Such great lines in this movie. You gotta love it. Right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Of
maybe,
course.
maybe not. Well, that's why we're doing the podcast, folks, to see if we do or do not like Empire Records. And
I mean, it is a Ted pick, so it's probably a 5 hook rating.
it's probably a five hook there for Ted. But all right, we'll get there. And as always, folks, thanks for listening to us on all of the streaming platforms that are available, including our friends at the Dorkening Network. So, gentlemen, do you remember the first time you saw this movie? I don't. Do you?
Saw it on cable, probably the year it came out on cable, which is probably 96, probably.
I think I'm in that boat too, to be honest with you. I don't have any recollection. I've seen it a million times, but I can't remember the first time I saw it. Ted, you were probably in line at the theater?
No.
Dressed
Never
up as
saw
Rex
this in the
Manning?
theater.
Yeah.
No, I don't. No, but yes, nobody saw this in the theater. Trust me.
It didn't do well.
We'll get to that. It was probably in college because it's why I didn't graduate college.
Because you
I
watched too much
Way to go,
television.
Empire Records. Thanks
I
for
watched
calling
so
Ted
many
Bradley.
movies.
So much. So Empire
I
Records
watched-
ruined your college experience.
I watched so many movies in college and then fell in love. It just ruined my college experience. So it was probably in college.
Uh-huh. Okay. Interesting. So is that the single reason why you did or did not graduate?
Yes.
Okay.
No, there was other things. Don't get me wrong. There were other things. Probably drinking way too much.
It's a family show. Back it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
There wasn't any drugs. I mean, I wasn't doing heroin or anything. Jesus Christ.
Hey,
Just
I didn't
selling
bring
it.
up heroin. You did.
He was just selling it for the alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. He had to supplement his income. I get it. It's
Yeah.
all good. All right.
So let's get to the particulars.
So did this movie do so bad in the theater they had to pay money back?
Yeah. Empire Records was directed by Alan Moyle. It was a screenplay by Carol Heikkinen, or I don't know why they just didn't call her Heineken. The music and score is by Mitchell Lieb. He was the music supervisor for the film. The running time is 90 minutes. It was released September 22nd, 1995. Had a budget of $10 million. And hold on to your shorts, boys, because it had a box office gross of $303,000.
Come on.
303.
That can't be
Yes.
right.
Yes. This is probably our lowest grossing movie that we've done. And that includes One-on-One, that disgustingly after school special Ken
The
made
Hall
us
and Oates
watch.
story. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
very depressing. Yeah.
So on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a critic score of a splat of 35%, big surprise, and an audience score of 83%,
Yeah.
which
damn
is
the
more
man.
in line.
Damn the
Which is
man.
more in line
Right.
with how I feel about it. And it's an IMDb rating of 6.7. So Empire Records stars Anthony LaPaglia as Joseph Joe Reeves, Maxwell Caulfield as Rex Manning, sucks at Rexy, Debbie Mazar as Jane, Rory Cochrane as Lucas, Johnny Whitworth as AJ, Robin Tooney as Deborah, Renee Zellweger as Gina, Ethan Randall as Mark, Liv Tyler as Corey Mason, Coyote Shivers as Burko, Brendan Sexton as Warren, and James Chemo Wills as Eddie, and Ben Bode as Mitchell Beck.
So you got some early names in here.
Yeah, some definite soon-to-be stars, and Rory Cochrane has made a good career for himself, starting out with Dazed and Confused. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of become a cult classic in the aftermath of that.
It has a very cult classic feeling to it.
Like if you would have told me it cost $10 million to make, how much do you think it made? I would have said it would have at least broke even, to be honest with you. I've lost my shorts, as you would say.
Going into it, that's exactly what I thought. Or at least like make it a couple of million. I was thinking maybe like the 12, 13, 14, 15 million range, but something went wrong. The marketing went wrong, or they didn't release it in enough theaters. Or
did it go? It wasn't a direct to video, was it?
No.
Wow.
No, it was in the theaters.
That's
but
crazy.
something went wrong there. And
I mean, let's think about this. Let's just quickly do a quick analyzation of this. 95. Okay, that's kind of the height of the grunge area coming in. I am surprised that the grunge crowd did not go to this movie. That genre. It's very surprising.
Yeah, because I was a part of the grunge era. It was a weird time in 95 because Kurt had died. Pearl Jam was fighting with Ticketmaster. So grunge had been kind of put on the back burner. That's why when you listen to this soundtrack, I love this soundtrack, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great soundtrack. Phenomenal.
There's you get the Gin Blossoms in there. And so it's like that. It's transitioning from the Super Seattle sound and Soundgarden and all of that into a more pop type grunge feel.
But I mean,
it's awkward.
Regardless of the music, I've watched the trailers on this thing half a dozen times, and the trailers for it make it sound like a very good movie. And I'm just surprised that the 20-somethings did not go to it. That's all. I'm just like, I'm floored at 3% profit.
Yeah,
negative 97.
Yeah, it's shocking.
All right, whatever. I'm harping on this too long. That number just blows my mind. So
I have a little information on it for you of why it did as bad as it did. So instead of 1,000,
this is Ken's tidbits.
Let's go into Ken's tidbits.
They put it on 87 screens instead of 1,000 screens. So that
87.
Could be.
That's a huge amount. That's
massively low.
Yeah.
One of the biggest issues that I'm reading here is the fact that, you had all these malls that had movie theaters, and who goes to malls? Teenagers.
Yeah.
So why aren't you putting this movie in theaters that are in malls, right?
At this era,
yeah. No, that's
87.
True.
So it would released in 87 movie theaters.
That's fucked up.
That explains the 300 and some thousand.
Yeah, right there.
There's no premiere, no national advertising campaign.
There you go. That'll do it too. Basically, it was set up to fail.
So
what probably happened, and I don't have this here, but probably what happened is they screened it, and it probably screened bad.
It probably did.
That's probably true too.
Yeah, because that would be the only reason why you wouldn't market this, is if you had some screening and people didn't care for it.
Did they put? I'm sure they put in a lousy opening slot too because of that.
Release date was September 22nd.
Yeah. So right basically in no man's land.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
It's almost like Kathleen Kennedy was running this, and
oh my goodness.
Somehow she got into our podcast.
How?
Jeez.
How?
As far as the other tidbits in this movie, Robin Tunney shaved off her real hair in that bathroom scene. She had to wear a wig for her next movie, which was The Craft.
That's a good movie too.
Yeah, The Craft.
Actually, that's
a
good
wig.
That's
a good tidbit. That's a good tidbit. All right.
Yeah. Hats off to the wig people for The Craft.
Angelina Jolie was actually up for that part of Deborah as well. but lost
that's
it to
interesting.
Tooney.
So this would have come right off of what is that?
Hackers.
That
Hackers,
Gia movie
yeah.
she did, or
Yeah, that was a fun movie. I enjoyed that movie.
You can't watch it now. I mean, it's laughable now.
I still think it's fun.
The technology is like infinitely changed.
Well, of course.
This movie was severely edited in post-production, removing 3 significant characters and up to 40 minutes of footage. The story was condensed from occurring over 2 days to just 1 day.
Wow.
One of the actors that was cut from the film was Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire asked to be released from the film. He was dealing with some alcoholism, I guess, and had to go to rehab.
So because of that, he wanted no money from the movie?
Well, they didn't make any money.
Well, they didn't know that. I mean, he didn't know that. Well, no, hold on. They didn't make any money, but they still got to pay the actors up front.
Well, Tobey Maguire actually he wasn't trying to be a movie star. He was trying to be a script writer instead.
So he asked to be released from the script, or was he in the movie?
He was in the movie. He did scenes. He had scenes.
Okay.
They cut him.
Interesting.
Fascinatingly
Well,
fascinating.
when was the Cider House Rules? Because that was his first major breakthrough role. Would this have been before he was part of the underground Los Angeles gambling ring that was highlighted in the movie Molly's Game?
I love Molly's Game. That is a great movie.
You know that the main character is Tobey Maguire, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is weird, wild stuff. Cider House Rules is 99.
Okay. So, yeah, because the person who was Molly, she dropped the dime on everybody.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah. Okay.
It is a really good movie. But the asshole of that movie was Tobey Maguire.
Fascinating. All right, what else you got for us on the tidbit side?
Coyote Shivers was married to Bibi Bullard at the time, making him Liv Tyler's stepfather.
Creepy.
That's a little weird. Yeah.
That's
Bebe Buell.
A little weird. Okay.
Little weird.
Bebe Buell is one of the inspirations for Penny Lane in Almost Famous.
Yes.
Warren was supposed to have a twin sister, but her scenes were deleted from the final cut. I did not find out who the actress was that was deleted from the final cut.
I kind of want to see this other 40 minutes.
There are deleted scenes in updated versions of this. The best one is the last
4K.
Blu-ray the last Blu-ray that came out. I think it has the best stuff in it, because I read somewhere that the 2005 DVD release actually took some scenes out of the movie itself, which kind of ticked off some people.
What the hell?
Yeah. Wow. What do you want this to be like 12 minutes long?
I know, right? It should be interesting. There is a deleted scene in there that I really liked that actually would have given Max Manning more depth.
Rex Manning,
sorry.
More credibility.
Just understanding him better.
So what is it, like some rape scene or something?
No, we already get that.
Yeah.
There's actually a scene where there was no rape scene. There was
no, there's not. I'm just saying he's pretty much an asshole.
She was underage.
Well, yes.
Well, we don't know if she was underage. She could have been 18. We don't know that for sure.
But he's a pretty sleazy guy. Is there something made him sleazy?
She's underage. They're in high school.
Liv Tyler's in this movie. Let's just talk about her father, right? So there you go.
Yeah, you've answered your question.
Well, if we want to talk about sleazy, he probably slept with a lot of underage, women in his time. That was not uncommon for rock stars to do that, right?
Exactly.
Well, look at Led Zeppelin.
Well, look at Almost Famous, the movie that you were talking about. They say Penny Lane is supposed to be, 15, 16 years old. So,
and being passed around from band to band.
Exactly.
So, all right.
Exactly. Yes. So with Rex Manning, the car that was supposed to pick him up doesn't pick him up, and he basically is talking to Liv Tyler's stepdaddy.
Okay.
And he has the guitar on him because he's a singer in a band, right? Rex was telling him, they don't even let me even play any instruments anymore on my own albums. He was just letting him know how at one time he loved doing music and stuff like that, and how the music companies have, changed him and stuff
Given
like that.
the human side to Rex Manning,
right? And
I'm not the problem, right?
Yeah, well,
okay.
just something that kind of says to show you why he is where he's at, right?
How jaded he is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and how he basically wants to. There's like a river or a pond right there, and he's thinking about suicide.
Oh my goodness!
He's thinking about this is the end right here.
It's a darker movie right now.
Coyote Shivers, his character, is with him.
Yes, he's like, that's never going to be me. I'm not going to let anybody not let me play music on my own album. He goes, keep that thought. Just keep that thought in your head.
Interesting.
So I thought that gave some credibility to his character instead of making him just this sleazeball. And we'll talk about this throughout the movie. There are problems with this movie because of the cuts.
There are some.
The romance.
You mean the editing cuts?
Yeah, like the romance scene between the owner of, the manager of the store and the one that is
Jane.
Rex's. Yeah.
Right.
All of a sudden they go from like barely knowing each other to like wanting to have a date, and there's nothing,
like,
there's nothing
awkward
in between. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more of that. When filming the scene in which Warren runs away from the store, his stunt double actually ran into a car and cracked a rib.
I saw that. That's very funny.
That's awesome.
And this is Renee Zellweger's on-screen singing debut. So when she sings that song,
I don't think has she sung again on film.
Chicago.
Oh,
yeah, Chicago.
Okay.
That's
Chicago.
Right.
Gotcha. I forgot she was in that. Yeah.
Doesn't do half bad.
Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like that final song, and you can't find it anywhere.
Not even on the Empire Records.
Nope.
So you got to record it from the movie.
From the movie, if you want to listen
onto
to it,
a format of choice. Interesting.
That's all I have for Ken's Tidbits.
Great.
Can I just say something real quick? Like this soundtrack is really good. Streaming has killed the soundtrack.
This soundtrack or soundtracks in general?
Just soundtracks in general. Like, especially like with the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. One, you don't get all the songs.
So they cut them.
So they're blacked out because they can't get the rights or whatever.
Oh,
and then they
okay.
cut out the clips from the movie.
You can always listen to these songs and make your own playlist, and
but you're still not going to get the clips from the movie.
Watch the movie then, because that's my theory here.
I know, but that was part of the cool part about a soundtrack.
Sometimes I got annoyed by that. Sometimes I got annoyed by that.
If you buy the CD now, say on Amazon or retail store, is it all the clips and all the songs?
I would say so.
If you get a hard copy, yes.
Yeah, hard copy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you go on like Apple Music or Spotify or whatever streaming service that you use.
See, this is the argument we've talked about since day one in this podcast about having real physical media versus streaming it online.
Right.
If you have the physical media, you control it. It's yours. You own it. No one can edit it or take it away from you. If you are depending exclusively on streaming, now other people have control and they can remove and edit content. Look at the Disney movies, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, or any major motion picture or something like that, they have control. For all you little leaguers out there, remember, buy your physical media.
All right, that's just my little 2 cents worth.
That's interesting. I know this is especially a movie that has an incredible soundtrack.
Yeah, it's freaking amazing.
It is definitely something we want to bring up, and if we want to start off with the soundtrack, we can.
Let's go to the plot first.
All right, let's kick into the plot so people know what we're talking about.
Before the plot, I just wanted to say with Ted, because he said this earlier and I didn't get a chance to say anything. Rory Cochrane has a great movie career.
He's had a consistent career all the way up until this year.
I looked at his IMDb, and I only saw one movie that I even recognized after this, and that was Argo.
Yeah, he's still working though.
But it's not a great career. You were like,
I'm not saying he's incredible. I'm not saying
he had an incredible career after.
I'm not saying like he's like Tom Cruise or something, but he's working.
I didn't know he even existed after this movie. So He kind of I thought
Wow.
he disappeared.
We
into
did the movie
nothingness.
Argo.
Well, yeah, we did
Argo's
the movie
great.
Argo, but outside of that, I think he's in CSI, but I don't watch CSI. So
Yeah, he's done a lot of TV stuff. I mean, yeah, he's made a career for himself.
Yeah.
okay.
Hey, so I just did a quick search on Empire Records soundtrack on CD. It's currently out of print.
That doesn't surprise me either.
So you're buying used copies.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I'm sure you can get it for cheap though.
Yeah.
possible.
Okay.
Nobody prints CDs anymore, though.
Sure they do.
Yeah, it is not like they used to.
You know, the
probably can get
CD
it from
market.
the library.
No, the CD market is coming back. Just like vinyl has been. Oh, yeah. I've read many articles on it in the last couple months. CDs are coming back. Hell, even cassettes are coming back. There was actually, not to go sidetrack here, but you brought it up. There was an article I read either on Washington Post or in one of the business trades that was talking about how people are buying CDs again, and they're buying portable CD players, and they were doing reviews of the best portable CD players out there, which I was like, wow, what's going on with this? Because I actually have a portable CD player that I use because, the new cars don't have CD players in them.
No,
I have a portable 8-track player. So
you could. That's just a failed media. You can't. It's
the worst media. I'm sorry.
Of course
it is a bad idea.
Well, it was a good idea for the time. You need something portable for a car, right?
They give you a thing that's the size of an Atari 2600.
Well, I mean, the problem is when it flipped tracks, it flipped sometimes in the middle of the song.
Right.
To go, it flipped in the middle of the song sometimes. All the time. And the other issue is you
could rewind, so you had to wait for it to come back around again. So
you can't. You could only fast forward 8 tracks. You couldn't rewind them. And then the tracks were spliced together with like a little bit of like aluminum foil splicing tape. So that's when the tape head, when the roller went over the splice head, that's when it flipped. That was the indicator that it flipped to the next track.
Oh my God.
That's how it did it. The problem is like any analog media out there, is that after time, when that thing would, I don't know if you've ever listened to an 8-track, but when those things go into the next track, it's not nice and light. It's hard. It is it's like a slam when it does it. And after a while, I mean, I have probably 100 8-tracks. Okay. I can't play them because if I play it, I risk that splice tape coming loose and breaking and snapping. And once it snaps, it's garbage. It's unrepairable.
You're done. Yeah.
You're done. 40,
I think they were
50,
more reliable than cassettes as far as that, though, because cassette tapes would have been eaten all the time, whereas I feel like 8-tracks weren't eaten like the way cassette tapes were.
8-tracks came out prior to cassettes. When cassettes came out, that was kind of nailing the death of the 8-track player. Early cassette players you're right, they were garbage, they were cheap, but then you get the audiophiles to get the hi-fi stuff, and you got some, like me, man, growing up, high school, I was a cassette person.
I loved cassettes too. I used to make my own playlist.
Oh,
all the time,
I made my own playlist, but I mastered them in Dolby HX Pro, Dolby BNC noise reduction. I wasn't using that stupid, dual tape player bullshit that you buy for like $100 boom box that you dub a tape and it just be like.
And you always needed at least an extra pencil with you, so you can make sure you can wind everything back inside of it.
Man, I still have my tapes, and I play them every once in a while. Those things sound beautiful. I did a really good job mastering those things. I would dub tapes the right way. I mean, I would take my CDs and put them on cassette because I didn't have a CD player in the car. All right, we've gone on a tangent, but that's a walk down memory lane here. It's amazing how technology has evolved just to where we are right now doing a podcast. I mean, come on. It's crazy. All right, let's roll into the plot here. We could talk all day about failed media. Empire Records The story kicks off when Lucas, one of the employees, discovers that the store is set to be sold to Music Town. In a desperate attempt to save Empire Records, he takes the store's daily earnings to Atlantic City in hopes of winning enough money to buy out the store. However, Lucas loses all the money, setting off a series of chaotic events and conflicts amongst the staff, which is pretty much the plot of the movie. Throughout the day, each character deals with their own personal struggles, including self-identity, relationships, and future aspirations. Key characters include Joe, the store manager, who tries to keep everything together; Gina, the ambitious and outspoken employee; Corey, a straight-A student obsessed with pop star Rex Manning; and AJ. Yes, sexy Rex. And AJ, who harbors feelings for Corey. The arrival of Rex Manning, a washed-up pop singer scheduled for an in-store appearance, serves as a catalyst for the characters to confront their issues and make important decisions. The day is filled with comedic mishaps, emotional revelations, and a strong sense of camaraderie as the staff bands together to resist the sale of the store. Damn the man. That's right.
Damn the man.
That's right. By the end of the film, the employees unite to raise enough money to save Empire Records, reaffirming the importance of friendships, self-expression, and standing up for what they believe in. The store is saved, and the characters emerge stronger, having learned valuable lessons about themselves and each other. You know, as I read this, I miss independent record stores. I miss record stores. I really do.
Your friend who we were going to do the podcast with reminds me of Joe. He reminds me of Joe.
Yeah. Little bit, I guess. Yeah.
He reminds
Scott,
me of Joe.
I don't know if people listening out here, our wide fan base, actually had the pleasure of going into a store that was like an Empire Records. By us, it was Crow's Nest Digital was the big independent store. It was just a pleasure to walk and talk to the staff, see the array of albums and stuff they sold. That's one of the things, probably one of the top things I missed from my childhood that I wish we still had was the record store. You guys agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Good.
I had a friend, you guys met him, who passed away this past summer. Greg, he worked at a music store. Music Warehouse was the place of it. And we also had a place called Crow's Nest.
That's what I just mentioned, Crow's Nest Digital.
They had two locations, one in Crest Hill and one in Naperville. The Naperville one was stale.
The Crest Hill one was where you bought your drugs and your paraphernalia and stuff.
Yeah, Crest Hill it had character. It definitely
had character, all right.
Definitely had character.
Yeah.
So
in Quincy, we just had Musicland. I mean,
that was a mall chain, wasn't it? Musicland.
It was a chain.
Yeah.
Like Sam Goody.
But like the cool people worked there. I applied to Musicland probably 17 times because I wanted to work there so freaking bad.
Because he saw this movie, he's like, "Damn it,
Empire Records." It was because when we would go to the mall as a family, I would either go to Aladdin's Castle or I would go to Musicland, which ended up being Sam Goody. And that's where I would spend my entire time. Because I would just sit in our stand and, go through all of the different cassettes and then CDs that were there. And it's like, it's how I gained a lot of my music knowledge, to be honest.
You guys ever been in like Chicago when they had been to like a Tower Records? Yeah,
I've been to I went. It was the one that was on Michigan Avenue.
Yeah.
That was Virgin. The Virgin was on Michigan Avenue.
Yeah, the Virgin. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I about shit myself the first time Michelle took me there. Yeah,
family.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was like walking into Mecca.
Yeah, but that's nothing like it used to be. I mean,
no, and even over the course of time, it became less and less of what it was. But the first, a kid who had only walked into a Sam Goody walking into Virgin or Tower Records, holy shit, mind blown. It was like, wow.
To bring us back around for this movie, Empire Records is turning into a Sam Goody.
Right.
For all intents and
turning
purposes,
into Tower.
That's the whole thing. Is they were going with a what do you call it? Sign a contract to be turned into a
Music Town or whatever.
A Music Town, yeah.
But see, this is why I have a problem a little bit with this Empire Records, because I didn't feel like outside the characters in the back room, I didn't feel like that fell into like the store itself. So, for instance,
you want like a high fidelity?
Yeah, more like high fidelity. Yes,
okay.
Exactly. That's what was in my brain, and that's where I was going with this. So, with Music Warehouse, where my friend Greg worked, there was another guy there that worked there. His name was Kurt, and me and Kurt became friends. We went to Beatle Fest together, but he was behind the counter, and he's like, he would recommend bands for me, and I would go and grab it and buy it and bring it home and fall in love with it. A group named Jellyfish is one of those bands that I wouldn't know.
I remember Jellyfish. Wow, yeah.
I wouldn't know them unless the guy at Music Warehouse told me about it. And I didn't see that in this movie, which was a little frustrating. They were treating the customers just like pay for your CD and get out type of deal. It was no interaction with the customers.
Yeah, they were background characters. They're just nothing but background characters.
Yeah, there was an occasion where they had that one dance scene where they're all dancing and some of the customers were dancing with them. But outside of that and outside of the end there, I didn't see why customers would love coming to Empire Records, and I wish I would have saw that.
I get it.
I think you had to have our connection to a music store to understand that.
But this kind of record store was trying to sell us that this was that kind of record store, that people came there because they loved the vibe and they loved, the people that worked there, and there was interaction, and really there wasn't any.
Yeah.
It might as well have been a Sam Goody or a Music Land, because it kind of treated the customers like it was. Now in the back it didn't. So you have this plot of, we're going to become a, what was it, Music Town?
Music Town, yeah, I think.
Yeah. So what? What's going to be the big difference? I mean, you don't, so you would have to wear a uniform. Oh my goodness. Besides that, how are you treating your customers any different? And that's why this movie.
Well, I think the problem, you bring up a good point. I think in their eyes, the problem is they can't do all the hoodlum stuff they do in the back.
Right.
It would be an entire corporate. It would be a corporate atmosphere. It takes all their freedom away to ignore the customers and or have fun in the back room and do whatever.
Right. I think if you made it about the customers, I think this would have made, or a combination of both, it would have made for a really good film.
Like some interactions with the customers, like on recommendations or attacking them, going, "Hey man, do you got the Bee Gees?" or something like that. Like, get the hell out of my store.
Well, like they're making recommendations for each other. Like the guy brings them a mixed tape along with the brownies, right? And he's like telling them, "This is everything you need in life." Why not do that with your customers? I think that would give it a little bit more flavor and allow people like us go, I remember a record store like that. I went to a store like that. This store kind of falls in between what we're talking about. It falls in between a Music Land and, a special store that we got recommendations from people that worked there and stuff. It was like, this is kind of like an in-between thing. The person who wrote this actually worked for Tower Records, if memory serves me right.
Okay.
So, and I've been in Tower Records, and I felt like Tower Records fell more closer to what we all were talking about as far as people that worked there that could give you recommendations, and the only interaction they have with the customer is if he's trying to steal something. So,
yeah.
This kind of rolls into one of the questions we were going to ask, which is, how does the setting of the record store influence the interactions between characters in the film? I think we've pretty much talked about that.
And also, too, every single character has a different style of music that they're into.
Yes, they do. Right. Exactly. That is a key point of the plot.
Every single character has a genre of music that they're attached to.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, because there's a lot of genres that are missing here. first of all, there's no 50s or 60s music in this whatsoever.
Come on. Why would
No.
Name me
there
one 50s or
be?
60s songs in there.
Well,
There-
Hey Joe,
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix.
What do you want? The
Go through
Everly
them.
Brothers?
No, well, I mean, he said that every genre is being represented
Well,
here, and I'm
okay.
going to disagree.
No,
with
Every
I
that.
should
90s
say-
genre.
I should say that
There
each
you
one
go.
has
Every
their own
90s
different genre.
And I would tell you that people that work in a record store, at least my experiences, because I do Crow's Nest pretty well and Music Warehouse pretty good, extremely well. A lot of these people had a lot of different interests. You had people that were into the oldies, people that were into classic rock, or back then it wasn't classic rock just quite. Well,
Generally, if it was top 40, they wouldn't even listen to it.
You
Yeah,
had
they were
They
Yeah,
like
the-
the alternative.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had people like me that listened to legitimately every single genre of music.
Right.
I mean,
you have
if I
some
would have
80s
if I would have had something like Music Warehouse, I probably would have ended up living there and just left
Yeah.
home.
Yeah,
Because
I was there
that's-
every week, at least once or twice a week. I was at Music Warehouse just because that's where I felt like I fit for the most
Mhm.
part. I think the age group also is weird here because most music stores have a variety of ages, not just
Yeah.
people that are roughly in high school. And I think that's
Yeah.
where I think if you had a couple more adults, people that were like in maybe like their late 20s or something like that, representing or something, then I think you're going to get a little bit more of that variety that you were talking about. Because
All of
record
their-
stores are
yeah.
not all just teenagers working behind the counter.
Yeah. All of their ages are kind of nebulous too. You really don't know exactly how old anybody is.
It seems like most of
Except
them
for
are
Corey.
all
Except
well,
for Corey.
all of them are pretty much in high school.
Yeah.
The only one that I don't know if he's in high school or not is the one that Tyre's
Lucas?
stepdad. No, the rest of them I think are in high school. Well, Lucas
Okay,
goes gambles. Lucas goes and gambles
right?
in
And
so-
AJ talks about his rent.
yeah, but he's also talking about going to art school. And
Well, you could go
and
to
the girl
art
that he
school at
likes has
20
got
or-
a calculus class that she has to pass, and her best friend, is in high school as well. So these ages to me seem to be very close together. If they're not in
Yeah.
high school, they just graduated from high school.
Mhm.
So like I said, I would like to have seen somebody in their like late 20s that hasn't figured out their life yet, and is still working in a music store. Or maybe they do it as a part-time gig because they like it. They just can't let go of that, right? So,
Yeah.
because my friend Greg, when he worked in the music store, he was in his 30s at the time, but he loved music so much. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of was it eclectic
Yeah.
group of people.
Eclectic, yeah, you're right.
I had to use it like a really interesting word today. That's my interest.
That's a good word. Eclectic is a very good word. And don't get me wrong, when I say that, I had Musicland and then Sam Goody, it was more like what you're talking about, like the Music Warehouse. The people there were cool. They'd give you recommendations and they would talk to you and get to know you and shit like that. So
See, I look at
It
this
was-
Empire Records and I look how big it is and how like it looks like it has character, right? Music
Right.
Lands and Sam Goody's did not have character. They were sterile, just like a hallway
ours did in Quincy. Whoever owned that franchise in Quincy kind of basically made it into a real record store.
We had one in the Fox Valley Mall here. It was called Record Town. It's an FYE now.
Yeah.
But it was cooler back then because it's like it had a basement feel.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, it still has that a little bit, but back then it was even better. It was just kind of like it was tucked away from everything else except for the food court. And it was just kind of like, I don't know,
Yeah.
you had Sam Goody and you had Musicland, but then you had this Record Town. We had 3 music stores in our mall, which is
That's
pretty cool.
freaking cool as hell.
But this one was the one that had character, whereas the other ones just were straight hallways. Yeah,
Open.
they gutted it like a number of years back for it to become a FYE. But
Which sucks, by the way.
Well, let's dig into some questions here. I think the most important scene in this movie, not necessarily my favorite, but the most important scene in this movie is the beginning. It really does a good job of setting up this movie. I believe it's Lucas who finds the contract, right? He's trusted with putting the money in the safe. He finds the contract to sell the store. He loses it. He has this great idea to go down to Atlantic City and bet all the money on, what game was it? It
was craps.
Craps. One roll, all of it on craps, and loses. I love the expression.
He wins the first time.
Right.
He wins the first time and then lets it roll and loses lets it ride.
Love the expression on his face when we do that.
So there's a deleted scene where the lady that he's with, he actually takes her to Atlantic City, and her husband comes into the store. Actually, he runs over his bike, and then he comes into the store and to give him a hard time. I mean, I just ran over your bike, for taking my wife to Atlantic City and all that. And he's like, well, maybe you should take her to Acapulco or something like that. He's trying to say, you're a smarter man than me. Look at me. I work at a record store. You have your own towing company. He's just, he's kind of like flipping it on him to make it seem like you're better than me. You should go back to your wife type of deal.
Towing company. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. There's that little deleted scene there.
That's interesting. I kind of like it the way it is.
I do too on that one.
Yeah.
He loses the money. He comes back. All right. Joe loses it, obviously. Now, Joe at this point could have made a decision. Okay. He could have said, you know what? You committed theft. I'm having you arrested. I'm calling the cops. But he doesn't. He actually tries to protect Lucas. Because
does he protect Lucas? Because
he does.
Lucas
he
is
does.
Is he adopted? Did he adopt him?
Almost kind of.
He almost says at the end that, that his mom gave him up and Joe took him in.
Yeah.
So it sounds
like. So you
like
think he lives with Joe?
At least at one point.
At least at one point he did.
Now, obviously, Joe does not own the building he's in. He's paying rent, which is why that store can be sold. And I think that sets up the plot of the movie, and hilarity ensues.
I kind of dig the whole casino thing where he walks by and he's like Black 23 and it lands.
I like the outfit he's wearing too. He's like that beatnik Lou Reed outfit from the mid 70s kind of.
Yes, exactly.
He goes by that one slot machine and pulls it down for the lady and she wins money. It's like he's like
ah! Yeah, I mean it is kind of a Bond-esque setup, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. And then he rolls a 7 on his first roll.
Right.
I wish they would have kept it going for a little bit. Like he went on a real heater.
On a heater?
Yeah.
And he just kept letting it ride.
Just kept letting it ride. Maybe win 7 or 8 times, and then all of a sudden somebody bumps him or
drinks
something.
For everyone, and then all of a sudden. Yeah.
I think, though, had he won more than a couple of times, I think he would have stopped. Because he's because if I win again, I get to save everything for my friends and for Joe.
But then he could have said stuff like, well, if I win again, then, Joe doesn't have to ever worry about money ever again.
Yeah, that's
Joe can always buy the building, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I can see it both ways that way.
Okay. Well, let's get into some questions here. What scene in this movie is your favorite? Come on. You got to have one scene that's your favorite.
Maybe the funeral scene.
Really?
The recreation of MASH? Yeah.
You like that's your scene?
I don't know if it's exactly my scene, but it stands out to me just because of everybody, bringing truth out and just letting it all. It's that come together moment that they all share together, and then you have the one kid that's at the register that's drowning because nobody else is helping him out.
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's where they all start to really tell Rex Manning exactly what they think of him, and his reactions to it are just so great. And that's when he uses the Who line, "Why don't y'all just fade away?"
I kind of like it better when they're talking to his handler.
Oh, to Jane. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were a little bit more even brutal then. Because that was just like being brutal just to be brutal. At the end, it's because he just like slept with. Oh, he didn't sleep,
Right,
but he
with-
just had sex with
Renee Zellweger.
Zellweger, and then he punched that kid. Of course, you're going to start telling me, "Oh, we hate your album," all that, but
Yeah.
earlier on, it feels more like true, right? More truthful because there was
Right.
no stakes in the game. They were just being perfectly honest, right? I would say the other scene that I like a lot is the shoplifting scene.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one too.
you got Renee Zellweger. She's on the microphone. She's like, this guy, he's gonna. You think he's gonna get away, but believe me, he's not. She's just like, he's going to fail. So
Yeah, she's kind of doing play-by-play.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's classic.
This is just personally. I also dig it when Gwar makes an appearance.
Gwar, yeah.
Yeah, anytime you can get Gwar anywhere, those guys are just fucking hilarious.
Yes, without a doubt. Oh, my favorite scene. I have memories of this. So my favorite scene and my favorite song by AC/DC are "If You Want Blood, You Got It." So when Joe's on the
Yes.
drums, just banging away to that song,
Yeah,
I fucking
that's
love
badass.
it. I love it. And then they're playing it over the intercom, of course, and dancing. I love that scene. I love the intensity that Joe has, just letting it all out on those drums. It made me almost want to learn drums. Just watching that scene, I was like, I want to be a drummer, but I can't read music. Damn the man. So
Ace, yeah, and it's perfect with AC/DC there.
it is just a great scene. My most
And
memorable scene.
One of their more underrated, under the radar songs too.
Yes, but a great
Very
rock,
cool.
just a straightforward rock song.
Well, AC/DC is
Of course,
freaking amazing.
yeah. I mean, they got a few. I don't know, some of their stuff seems a little more commercial than it should be, but that's here nor there. Yeah.
Well, that's after Bon Scott died.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Yes. How would you guys say the film's comedic moments kind of balance and contrast with its more serious themes? Because this movie's got some pretty dark themes in it, and then it lightens them up with a lot of comedy and a lot of sarcasm. I mean, the whole movie is built on sarcasm, but some of those scenes are a little dark.
I don't know if I would
Definitely.
even say it's comedy, because there's nothing.
It's
couched here that
sarcastic
makes-
comedy. It's not slapstick.
It's not slapstick, and it's nothing ha-ha. It doesn't make me laugh
No.
per se.
But you can have a dark comedy and a sarcastic comedy and not like a fall down slapstick. I think this is more of a sarcastic kind of comedy built into it. A little bit.
Right. We're-
Yeah, no, this isn't like slap and tickle funny. This is, I think there are
Slap
parts
and
that do.
tickle. Interesting.
Yeah, it's
I've never heard it put that way before.
I know. I'm
Really?
going to use that. Slap
really
and tickle.
You've never heard that before. So
Must be a Quincy
there-
thing.
No, I highly doubt that.
Slap and tickle.
It's there are parts that do kind of make me chuckle. I mean, there are funny things that happen. I mean, it is funny when Warren gets brought in. The thing that makes me laugh the most is when Lucas is going through the different stuff that he stole, and then he's
Whitney
like,
Houston.
Whitney Houston.
Right. See, that's what I'm
So
talking
my
about.
girlfriend.
That makes me
It's
chuckle. That makes me
sarcastic. It's
chuckle.
sarcastic humor. Exactly.
Well, Lucas in
It's
himself.
all sarcasm.
Well, Lucas in himself is sarcasm from start to finish,
Right,
basically.
Correct.
I would like to know who Lucas was, because he's like, who are you? Because, yesterday you're this person and today you're like a fortune cookie, so.
No, you're like the Chinese guy from the Karate Kid.
Chinese from the
Yeah.
Karate Kid. Yeah, exactly. So Lucas
Mr.
is
Miyagi,
all
yes.
about like trying to be into like deep thought into every single situation that is
Yeah,
brought
like
to
Zen
him, so.
moments and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he's all of a sudden become a Zen Buddhist monk.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, most of the are like zingers, like the girls ripping on each other, for being a hoe or for their goth look or whatever the case may be. But yeah, nothing is downright funny. So, but Yeah, but it does.
The smarter you get, the shorter your skirt gets.
Right. Yeah. See, smart. Yeah. Sarcastic comedy. I love it. What about the dark themes? There's some darker themes here. You got some suicide, some depression, as Ted likes to say, underage sex. I mean,
Corey's a speed freak. She's taking prescription Adderall without a prescription.
Dun dun dun.
Makes us wonder where she's getting it. Maybe she gets it from her mom or dad. She's got a lot of pressure from her parents. But I feel like they hide that
especially
problem.
Dad.
I think they hide that problem more so than Deborah's suicide attempt. I think that's the one that really kind of is the big focus of the movie. I think if you have one dark theme, that's it right there. I love Lucas's line, and he's like, "She's in the store. She's safe," and I like that because
yeah, I like that line too.
Yeah,
I like it because of the fact that she came to work because this is her safe place. This is where
and they are one big family. Let's be honest.
They are.
They are.
And they
it
all
is a safe
love,
zone. They're family.
And
yes,
because they all love Joe. Joe
Papa
is
Joe.
their father. Their father figure, and they all respect him.
He treats them like people.
Well, he treats them like their own. He's, he belongs, not belongs to them, but
he doesn't treat them like employees.
Right.
He treats them like adults. They're running the store. He doesn't treat them like, oh, you're an employee that I can just fire or do whatever. They're people. They're personal. He knows their history. He knows their lives. He is like a father figure to all of them.
Well, like she said, am I fired? He goes, no. Have I fired anybody today? I'm not going to start with you. So, but I do think that is also the problem of the store as well, because they do whatever they seem to want to do, and then he gets mad and frustrated and is like, this is why we're becoming a music town. Basically all your antics, basically, right? So because when he wants order, he has a hard time getting it, and they kind of make fun of him when he tries to do it. I mean, you have Renee Zellweger that puts on the music town outfit without anything underneath it.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
It is kind of awesome, but they do like I said, they do whatever they want, and then he loses his shit from time to time. Granted, mostly I think he's losing his shit because he lost $9,500 roughly, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, they're doing the dancing thing. He gets mad. He comes out and he's like, "No, just keep on dancing. Just keep on doing what you're doing."
Sarcasm.
Soon this will
there,
be. Soon will be a music town.
Yeah,
exactly. He gets frustrated, but he loves them. Multiple times throughout this movie, he's trying to like, hey, if you need to talk, I'm here for you, things of that nature. The only time I think they're really scared of him is when he beats the crap out of Lucas in the room.
Yeah.
So, and I think he gets away with that because I do think they have that kind of father-son bond that we were talking about at the beginning of the movie. What are the age groups of these people too? Lucas has got to be 21 at least because he was in Vegas.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
But the other ones are talking about having, calculus and finishing school and go to art school.
Right.
So
right.
I think everybody here is kind of between the ages of like 17 and maybe 21, 22.
I think Burko might be a little bit older because he's got the guitar.
He's got the band.
He's got the band and everything.
Yeah. I don't think he's much older, but I mean, he is dating Liv Tyler's, or married to Liv Tyler's mom. So
that's very messed up on a lot of different levels. I did not know that, but
I think if we're talking about this movie, we got to talk about Rex Manning. That's a key character in this movie.
Rexy.
Now, sexy Rexy, yeah, Rex Manning. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Joe who brought him in, or was it Music Town?
It was his boss, the guy who owns.
It was the guy who owns
store.
it. Okay,
yeah,
okay. Because no one likes Rex Manning. I mean, he's a joke.
No.
It's funny.
I'm trying to think.
Well, the young kid. Okay, he's not a joke. He's a top 40 artist.
I'm trying to think of, because in '95, I'm right in the middle of high school. Okay. And I was big into grunge, big into like metal, and I was big into like the Doors and stuff, and some of the psychedelic 60s stuff. I'm trying to think of who the real life equivalent of Rex Manning would have been at that time. The older guy who tries to come back with something. The only person, because he's on a TV show that everybody knows, I was thinking like David Cassidy and somebody like that, but they didn't really make a comeback like what Rex is trying to do in this movie. This has always been one of the conundrums for me with this movie. It's like trying to figure out, okay, who's holding on to the past like that?
Who they were comparing this
Leif
person
Garrett.
to. Leif Garrett. Now you're talking like mid to late 70s. I mean, this is more, if we're going 95, okay? You saw the video he had, like that Rico Suave kind of video.
God, it was totally Rico Suave.
Right, but who, you know.
That's the first thing that comes to mind all the time,
It was it had to be some type of 80s, mid, you know, there's a lot of one-hit wonder mid-80s people.
Yeah, I was thinking Partridge Family.
That's
David
70s,
Cassidy.
though.
Late 70s.
That's early to mid for the
mid late 70s.
No, not David Cassidy.
It all depends on who was Rex. Maybe early to mid 40s. So if your heyday was a teen pop star and you were like 16 years old or 18 years old in the mid 70s, you would still be. But isn't it
the mothers that are in line? The mothers are the older women that are in line for him.
But you have that girl who's probably about 16, 17 years old. She's like, oh, this is for my mother. I don't even know who you are.
Right, so, exactly. Yes.
So based on that, if she's 16, then you can go 20 years back, roughly. You can go to mid 70s.
I guess.
You can go to the Neil Diamond era. I mean,
I don't think he's Neil Diamond.
He's not Neil Diamond because Neil Diamond is beloved, right? So this
Neil
is
Diamond's
more
timeless.
This is more of like you said, Leif Garrison, maybe a Sean Cassidy type of situation where you had a couple hits in the 70s, and then all of a sudden, you're still trying to make music, but nobody.
Who was the fourth BG guy?
He died.
He was the one that died.
The one who did Shadow Dancing.
Right.
That was
can't think of his goddamn name.
Give me the Bee Gees' last names.
Well, it's Gibb.
Gibb, right. It's Barry Maurice. It was Andy Gibb.
Andy. Yeah.
Andy Gibb. Shadow Dancing. Yeah, he died of a drug overdose in 89, I think. 88, 89.
Something like that.
But you're right. He was. That's a good example because in the early 80s, he was on fire. He was top.
Yes.
And then by the late 80s, because of drugs, he fizzled out. So if he did have that kind of career, he would probably roll into the 90s. Yeah, I could see that.
That kind of falls into what I was saying earlier about the deleted scene, Whereas you were a big name, and then towards the end of your career, you can't even get your own stuff. You're like a product. I think it's more 70s because 70s was like, I think of the Brady Bunch and I think of Greg Brady, where they try to make him to Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo, yes,
right,
yes.
Right. Holy smokes!
70s
because he fit the suit, right?
70s and early, and early 80s was. You ever see the movie The Idolmaker?
I have not.
There's movies out there like that which kind of like show how in the 70s and even before the 70s how people molded these stars and throw them out there. You look at the Monkees, for instance. They didn't have any. I was
just thinking of those.
They didn't have really any talent. But then you look at even in the 2000s,
put them together.
You have somebody like Britney Spears who has maybe a good voice, but they have to mold her and write songs for her and teach her dancing and all this other stuff to the point where, she's the pop star, right?
Do you think a Rex Manning is before the MTV generation? Okay.
Yes.
Because you had a lot of those, people that, they look good on a video and they became famous because of that.
Michael Jackson.
Hey, Michael Jackson had hits before MTV. Hey,
Michael Jackson was Jackson 5.
Jackson 5.
Jackson 5.
He had some very good music. Off the Wall album was a great album in '79. It's when I don't know when he went off the wall and started. I don't know, but yeah,
The moment he got free from his dad,
probably
that's
Joe
when
Jackson.
he lost
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I will say,
I'd say
even
after
though-
Thriller, it was downhill.
I would say though, even though I said Neil Diamond earlier, but the outfit that he wears makes me think of Neil Diamond.
It does. It's very Neil Diamond.
It's Rico Suave, man. It's
God, Rico Suave.
Well, and they're making fun of that haircut.
yes,
So-
exactly. That blow dried kind of. That's more
It's
like a
very 70s
David
hair.
Cassidy hair there. Yeah.
That's why I brought up David
All right,
Cassidy.
all right,
I'm like, okay.
I'll jump on the David Cassidy. I guess that makes sense.
Because you've seen him in other movies where the girls from the 70s have the Teen Idol poster on their wall.
Oh yeah, Leif
And
Garrett.
I'm trying.
Rick
David
Springfield
Cassidy,
from the
Scott
everyone in the
Baio
80s.
in the '80s.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
holy
I mean, there's a
smokes.
lot of.
But yeah, you're also right though, Ken. Too, with the guy that you said,
Rick Springfield.
did you Rick
Rick
Springfield,
Springfield.
who was on General Hospital and had one massive hit, and then it was crickets.
He's had a few hit. No. He's had a few hits since then. He's really made a career. I saw Rick Springfield 4 or 5 years
After
ago at
Jesse-
Ravinia.
He was
After
he was
Jesse's
doing
Girl.
the New Year's Eve bash on
Yeah.
and actually he was singing Jesse's Girl. Actually,
Of
didn't
course
do
he
a bad
was.
job.
Talk
Yeah,
about a
what
guy
else
who's
is he-
made a career
What
of.
else
of
is he going to sing?
Love Somebody is a great song. There are some good hits here, but you're right. It's Jesse's Girl. I get it. That's a guy who has made a career of Jesse's Girl.
Or the guy who sang 8675309? I can't even remember who that was.
Not Tommy Two-Tone, was it?
No, I don't think it's Tommy Two-Tone.
We could have a whole podcast on one-hit wonders. That's
Oh, it's they're classic.
they're all over the
They're-
place. Yeah.
Yeah. But this
Which-
movie has
Do we
one
think
of my
Rex Manning
favorite
is one of
songs.
those one-hit wonders who has milked his career up to this
Maybe.
point?
But I think also like he's a little bit bigger than that though.
He was.
I think
yeah.
he's like that's why I'm going for like the David Cassidy, Andy Gibb type of mold where he's had a couple of hits and he made some decent music.
And he
not
still thinks he's top
never
of the world.
good.
But
Right.
in his opinion, he's top of the world.
He's still ready for Studio
Egocentric.
54.
I don't
Jeez.
think he thinks that of himself at all.
He
Because
still
of those
thinks he's
deleted
ready for
scenes?
Studio 54.
Deleted scenes, but also when they got to this record store, right? He's like, why are we here?
This is a career low for him, in his opinion.
And
Yeah.
and Jane mentions here too in that scene. That's good that you brought that scene up. She goes, "Well, Middle America is who buys your
still buys your
stuff.
records, yeah.
Middle America. Nice.
But we know that they're close to Atlantic City. So are they in Jersey or
they have to
Upper
be.
Pennsylvania?
They got to be in Jersey or
Southern New York?
Pennsylvania. Yeah. Yeah, they're not. I mean, they're not in the Midwest. Oh, but that's.
But
a good
they are in
point,
a very
though.
small town.
Why would you?
They are in a town about the size of Quincy.
But why would they? I mean, okay, there are people, and I don't get this, but people consider Ohio the Midwest sometimes. I don't know why. So they could be in
Yeah.
Eastern Ohio. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, because I
Terribly
mean, I guess
far?
that wouldn't be too terribly far to get to Atlantic City in
No,
one night.
and in '95, you got to remember your gambling's either Vegas or Atlantic City. That's it. Those are your choices.
Yeah, no, there's
Pre-internet.
nowhere else.
You don't have all the
The
little
mob made
gambling you
sure of
got.
that.
That's it. Those are your two places.
Yeah, the mob made sure of that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right.
But yeah, no, I that's who I think Rex is. Yeah.
I think what she's more saying is middle America is more of suburbs. It's like instead of the big city
Okay.
where they have the bigger record stores and
Instead
know.
of going to chains and he's going
Right.
to some mom and pop nowhere store.
exactly that's
Tower-
what
In
it
his
opinion.
means.
Yeah.
Tower Records isn't bringing him in for a signing.
And like I
they
said-
would Metallica or somebody.
Like I said, I think there's too many cut scenes here, and I think this character's not drawn out. It could be done better because there's sometimes where like, hey, let's get him, fruit tray, and so he's like, no, I don't need that. He seems
But he
to
really
be,
does.
but he doesn't come off being that. At least not to me.
Yeah, he does.
How do you?
Dude,
Because
came
he
off
gives
to-
Joe a
I-
sneer.
Yeah, he came off just total ego.
He's an
I
arrogant.
didn't see that. In fact, I thought he did a good job of being gracious. Where everything kind of changed for him, I think, is when the girls started offering themselves to him.
I think those deleted scenes have clouded your brain.
I don't think so. I mean, he
I
sits
think he's an
down and he shakes
egocentric
people's
maniac.
hands and he thanks people, and he's not a jerk to anybody until the people come in line. You know, you have the one lady who starts singing, I guess, his songs or something like that. I don't know,
Right, and the
operatic kind
operatic
I
of
love
voice,
it. I
yeah.
love it. Yes.
But it's like, you used to be my favorite artist in high school. And it's like, who's your favorite artist now? Oh, it's still you. And then he's rolling his eyes.
right.
He is frustrated with that situation.
Yeah.
But I don't think he is a complete jerk until the girls start offering himself, because I think that brings him back to where he used to be. She takes off her clothes and he
Teenage
whips out his
girls
dick.
going after
Yeah.
him, right?
Yeah, and then I think he becomes a complete dick.
You're right.
from
You know,
there,
there's
from
a
that
little
part.
bit because
Well, he makes a big deal about the chair.
But here's the thing. You bring up a
He
good
said,
point that
yeah.
just popped into my mind. He did give her an opportunity to back out. He did say, "Are you
Yeah,
sure
he
you
did.
want to do this?"
Yeah.
So there is
And
a
it was-
little bit.
He was kind of like shooing her away actually at the beginning.
bit.
You
Yeah.
know, when he gives the meal and stuff like that, and she's kind of staying there, and he's like, "Yeah, you know, you can go now." She offers himself up, and he whips it out. And actually, I think to a certain extent, he whips it out just to see what her reaction is. Does this make her run away? And then, you know, Renee Zellweger later on, she is like flirting with him big time. I mean, he's not the aggressor in either one of those situations.
That's true.
They are.
That's true. Whereas in a previous era of his career, he would have been the, "Hey, I'm Rex
Well, actually, in
Manning."
the previous area, it probably worked the same way. He just sat around and
Women
just
came to him. Yeah.
came to him.
Right.
So this is something. That's why I'm saying I think this is a situation where, you know, it brings him back to what he was, and he's, you know, kind of taking advantage of that. I didn't like the fact that he punched the kid, which was that was my biggest problem in the whole
Little bit, right?
frickin-
Yeah.
Oh, we'll hold him back, and okay, so I can punch his, you know, right him in the
Right.
face, right? I just think that his character was it could have been so much more, and then his assistant, she could have been so much more too. I really
Oh,
don't like
yeah.
what they did with her character either. All of a sudden, she quits. And she quits because the kids are making fun of Sexy Rexy. I mean, I don't know.
I think
Yeah.
I think she's already at the point where she's kind of fed up with him, and she's on that precipice, and then she
But we don't
sees
see
how he's
why she's
treating
fed up with
people.
him.
Right.
But we
Well,
don't see
we
why.
see
That's
his
the problem.
we see his behavior. He's a dick, and he
I
continually.
mean, did you see that
acts like
chair?
a
I don't
dick.
know if I would sit in that chair. Come on, that chair was
Come
not
on,
even
man.
made for sitting. It
It's-
wasn't
it's-
made for sitting
it
at
is
all.
what
And
it
the
is.
chair they gave him wasn't like anything
Made
special.
for sitting either. It's an old
It was-
plastic chair.
Yeah, it wasn't just, but it was more stable. And he wasn't being too much. I don't think he was being a dick at all during this particular time. I mean,
I don't.
I
know
mean,
what
if you think
movie you're
about
watching.
rock stars and people who, you know, he could have been so much worse. I could think of other, like, it's not like a Mariah Carey, you know, and some other artists that basically like have all these weird demands when they come into these type of places, right?
Right. It's
You know.
they're called writers. Yeah.
Yeah.
The most famous is Van Halen with no brown M&Ms.
No brown M&Ms. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, he's kind of earned the right to have a little bit things his way, but I don't think he's bossy at all about what he wants. You know, you get him some water. It's not like he's asking for a latte or something like that. You know, I think his demands are very reasonable for a guest at a record store, to be perfectly honest with you. I know I'm defending a guy who like slept with possibly an underage girl. We don't know exactly how old, you know, Renee Zellweger was in this.
There's that.
They never say that she was underage, and they never accuse him of being with somebody that was underage. I think they are mad because he takes advantage of, you know, their friend, right? So,
Yeah.
at the beginning of the film, everybody's like into this, sexy Rexy Day, whatever it is. You got the
I think it's all mocking.
I think so too.
No,
I think it's
I don't
all
think
mocking.
I don't think it's all mocking. The
sarcasm.
girls seem to be okay with it. And then what's his name?
Corey is.
Well, there's a few of, I think it's half and half. So like, for instance, Mark's character is very excited about the
I think
fact
he's
that
very
he's coming.
excited about everything.
He is, but he's like, we can't be like gloomed today. It's Rex Manning Day.
That's sarcasm.
No, I don't think it's sarcasm at all. I think he's
it is.
really excited to have Rex there. I mean, his character in itself is very,
I
questionable
love that
in
he
his
has the baby
intelligence.
pacifier,
Yeah.
because that was such a goddamn thing
Baby pacifier.
for a half a second.
Yeah, the girls loved those, didn't they?
Fucking God. That's something I'm glad that's no longer a thing.
I think that's the other
Baby
thing about these characters is some of them, they give them a little bit of music knowledge, like, music taste, where I feel like the girls here, they don't give them any type of like
No, they don't.
musical taste. Like they don't, like their opinion doesn't count.
Yeah. So like AJ's more probably like Blind Melon, Pearl Jam type of person, and Eric mentioned like Lucas. I'm sure Lucas likes like the old Lou Reed, the Velvet Underground, and stuff like that.
But we don't know what the girls like. They have no clue what
we
they like.
don't.
Well, the one's got the grunge look, shaves her head, so we could go
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor, Cranberries. I don't know. I got that kind of
Yeah, I could see
that
that.
vibe.
Well,
Yeah.
they're playing her off to be a goth
like the
chick
Cranberries
too,
one,
and
too. Yeah, I
so
do
she
too.
could be a little bit more goth.
Right.
So.
Well, we're talking before goth became 95 is before goth became a thing.
No, goth was I had goth girls in the 80s in my classes.
Okay, those are people who dressed up like The Cure, or
The Cure.
The Cure is
Yeah.
not goth. The Cure is not goth. If you're
They were
talking about
considered-
punk,
but the girls
if
were
you're talking
considered
about
goth
punk,
at that time.
okay, you're talking about punk in your era. You're talking about the Misfits, Glenn Danzig, and groups like that. Those are punk. It's different from goth.
I don't call The
goth
Cure
is
punk.
like, no, The Cure is definitely not punk.
No.
But they dressed like it.
A lot of heavy eye makeup, white paint. Yeah.
The goth stuff is more like Marilyn Manson and Korn and stuff like that. That's what goth really is, and is part of, because goth it started to become a thing right at the time of when I graduated.
AI says
97.
goth is a modern subculture that originated in the UK post-punk scene in the late 1970s, early 1980s.
Yeah. Well, okay, I guess.
How dare you question AI? That was in England, and it comes over here. Because we all know
Bands like the Bauhaus. I don't even know how to say that.
Bauhaus, yeah.
Yeah, The Cure, Seahawks.
The Cure is not goth.
Banshees.
Susie and the Banshees?
Yes.
Yeah.
Susie and the Banshees.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it might
When
have
I
evolved.
when
It
I
might have
associate
evolved
goth-
more in the 90s with, like you said, Marilyn Manson.
Well, of course it did.
because-
Right.
It heavily evolved.
Yeah, but it didn't start in the 90s.
But all those groups you mentioned are all English groups, so I think it evolved in Europe and then moved
Plus-
over here.
Plus, this
Most
is
things
mid-90s.
did.
This is mid-90s, so this would be Marilyn Manson era.
95?
Yeah, this is. No, this
90,
yeah.
So 95, 95 is just before Marilyn Manson blew up with Antichrist Superstar.
Because I remember dating a girl in 96 who was really into Marilyn Manson. Yeah, that was 96.
He was like my junior year in high school, which would have been
Ken, maybe she was in the
90
Charles
95,
Manson. You're
96.
just getting
Yeah,
that
she was in
confused.
Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. Yeah.
And
I'm really into Charles
Manson.
Manson.
Do you remember when Axel came on to the MTV Music Awards wearing a Charles Manson t-shirt, and everybody flipped the fuck out?
Was that like late 80s? That like after Appetite when he was,
It was like
top of the
it
world?
was like right around Appetite.
Yeah,
for the start.
87, 88, 89. Because GNR Lies
Appetite-
came out in 90 and Appetite was 87.
So I'm thinking, no, Use Your Illusion.
Those were the early 90s.
Yeah, so it was Use Your
91,
Illusion.
92.
Yeah,
Use Your Illusion albums 1 and 2.
because they came on and sang
Yeah.
Civil War, which is
Antichrist
Yeah,
obviously
Superstar
that's
was
Use Your
in
Illusion.
96.
Yeah.
So
Marilyn Manson 96. Yeah, that's because he became big with Antichrist Superstar when I was a junior in high
yeah,
school.
he had an album before that, but I guess it didn't chart very well.
It's
so.
shit. Yeah.
But I think right here, 95 is probably the start of like that type of genre.
Mhm.
So
The rebellion.
probably
Because grunge died. When Kurt died, grunge kind of died. And the hope that came with Nirvana
tired of hearing
died.
that Kurt died, everything died with him. I'm tired of the over.
It
Yeah,
kind of did. It
I'm
kind of
tired, 'cause
did.
Nirvana.
I'm sorry you
I
don't
like
care.
Nirvana, but I think they're one of the most overrated bands of all time.
You're completely wrong.
Just because you're basing it off of basically one big album.
They had 4 big albums.
4 big albums. Okay.
Yeah.
Utero.
In Utero was huge.
What was their single from that topped the charts? You don't. If you have to look it up, you don't know.
I do know.
All apologies.
If you, I've never even heard of that song before.
Yes, you have. You have. You've
Are you
heard it.
freak?
Ken, trust me, you've heard all
had to
apologies.
watch.
Have I heard of all apologies?
You have.
Okay.
You have.
You've watched The Unplugged, haven't you?
It's a classic rock staple now.
I just
come
think that
on.
when
Just because
everybody's
you don't
kinda,
like Nirvana.
No,
All right.
I like
I mean-
Nirvana. I Bloom is one of my favorite songs. I love that song. I think.
Why are we
Smells Like Teen
turning this
Spirit.
into a Nirvana
I know.
podcast all
Well,
of a sudden?
well,
Okay.
In Utero. Okay, so In Utero was huge. That's their last album. Nevermind was their huge album.
Right.
So they had three albums, and Bleach was their original album, which also had hits on it. About a Girl.
I just think.
I mean, come on.
I just think they're a little bit. It's kind of like the James Dean thing. Died too young,
No.
so that you had 3 great movies, and that's how I look at it.
Listen to anybody who talks about music and music history.
Like
and
you.
they will tell you how influential Nirvana was. And how
I
big
think they are
were.
influential.
In the grunge
Don't
movement,
get me,
yes.
don't get me wrong. They are influential. I don't get me wrong on that. I'm saying that you're basically alternative music, basically grunge music died when Kurt Cobain died, and I think that's just might as well say then rock and roll died with Buddy Holly, or that the Beatles died when John Lennon died. That's not things just live on. Things change because they change.
Things changed but when he passed, then Soundgarden broke up
because he died.
Pearl Jam started fighting with Ticketmaster,
but not because he died. These things didn't happen because
it's all correlative, yes,
right.
But his thing was the domino that set everything on.
What does this have to do with Empire Records?
It doesn't.
Absolutely nothing.
It's 3. They had 3 albums. That's all I see here is 3 albums.
And the best-selling MTV Unplugged album, which is one of the best acoustic albums of all time.
I like 5-man acoustical jam Tesla. Even Mariah
Tesla's
Carey
Unplugged was really good.
Even Mariah Carey's Unplugged isn't too bad.
Their first album, Bleach, that you were talking about,
About a Girl,
peaked at number 37 on the charts.
What did Nevermind do?
Oh, Nevermind is number 1. It's one of the best albums probably ever made. 1 or 2 great albums, and they own the whole grunge movement.
Then who is the face of grunge?
You could say that they're face of
Pearl
grunge.
Jam?
I don't think being the face of grunge is like that important. So,
but it is in the transition of music.
Think about it
90s.
though. But if you think about it, has heavy metal died?
No, heavy metal, because
grunge was a phase, a short phase.
Hair metal died.
I don't even like hair metal. That's just the offshoot
Everybody
of
loves
metal.
Motley Crue. Come on.
There is.
There's exceptions to the rule, I guess.
I'll make one comment here because I'm not going to delve into it, but there is a great podcast and story about. Do you remember the company SoundScan?
Sounds familiar.
SoundScan is a company that did the ratings for music for amount
Okay.
of copies sold. It
Okay.
replaced like Billboard.
Oh, okay.
So it was very popular in the early 90s, and there is a great. It's actually John Cougar Mellencamp brought it up on a podcast. Believe it or not,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, in between coughing, and I went and I listened to the podcast, and it is really good. It pretty much
Okay.
is the reason, and it makes a great argument to why rap music became so popular in the early 90s and all the other genres fell off. Because before, in the 80s and the 70s, you had pop, you had metal, you had
Disco.
top 40, you had no rap at all. Then in the 90s, for whatever fucking reason, rap comes out of nowhere and becomes the number one genre. And it continues for decades and decades and decades to even today. And then all the other genres have fallen off. And I'm talking just on your top 100, your top 40, that. I'm talking about what is selling and how are they tracking it. And it's a very interesting podcast to how somehow rap music has become this most popular format, rap and hip hop, and everything else has fallen off the wayside and how it happened. And I'll leave it at that. Yes, it's very interesting because it literally happened over like a few years. It was a complete transformation. And
So we're saying
what
grunge would have died anyway.
No,
I'd say that there's a golden period there where the quality went up considerably.
Of what?
Because when Public Enemy and Run DMC and those groups started to take over, the quality of that genre increased.
Bring us to a question, Eric.
Bring us to a question. I like this one. Are there any scenes that challenge stereotypes about youth culture or working in retail? Yes. Love it.
I think they try to like have each stereotype represented to a certain extent, except for the rap community, because they're not selling rap in this suburb place.
But Warren buys rap.
Yes,
and Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
And for my girlfriend.
Yeah, and why is that? Yes,
I'll have to look this up.
It's very interesting.
But for
because they
the
were starting to get
community,
airplay.
For the white community, they try to have every stereotype that was out there.
Yes,
the best that they could, basically, right? You had the girl who was addicted to amphetamines, and you had, the girl who was a slut, and you had the girl who was
the artist.
We said the goth kid, but I mean, she's kind of like, she's so weird that she's different than everybody else.
She's alternative.
She's the alternative.
She's piercing everything. Oh yeah.
She's the alternative, and AJ's the artist.
Mark is the goofball.
That's the kid that likes gore. Mark is like the guy who listens to the Offspring before the Offspring are cool.
He's the drug.
I think he does a pretty good job.
Definitely too. He is,
yeah.
Because he likes gore.
Yeah.
I love gore. Gore is so funny.
Yeah.
I think he's the one guy that's kind of
ruckus.
stuck in the one genre, and that's why you have the other guy who's trying to get him out of. That's why he makes him the mixtape, because he wants them to show him that there's other music out there besides like Gorn and stuff like that. Yeah.
We're gonna end this with a few personal reflection questions. So
all right,
don't delve too deep, but think about it. Which scene do you relate to personally, and why? No backstories about childhood and where someone touched you. We just want to know which one do you relate to and why.
I see myself as both Mark and AJ. I think that I relate to their two storylines very well, where you have a secret crush on somebody and they don't return your affections. That was me through high school.
I think that was everyone through high school. That was me as well, partially.
And I was kind of like Mark. I listened to just about everything. I listened to the grunge. I listened to alternative Green Day. I listened to some metal. I listened to 60s rock. I listened to some 70s rock. That's when I really got into Zeppelin. And so, yeah, I have a feeling that a lot like Mark, too.
Okay. For me, I relate to Joe because I like organization, but then I'm also kind of like a people pleaser where I like to be everyone's best friend. Ken?
I was thinking about this while you guys were answering. And
Yeah, it's a toughie, isn't it?
I can
Rex
honestly
Manning?
say I don't.
I'm Rex Manning.
I don't relate to any of these characters. That might be a bad thing. I mean,
ooh, and that's sticking outside the box.
You know, maybe with having a crush on a girl and you don't know how to talk to her, I guess I can relate with that. But I wasn't an artist, so like if we took one character and said, "Yeah, that character is me," none of these characters are me.
What about having a crush on a girl? You can talk to her, but she doesn't return the same feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I'm just talking about like a full character. Like if I chose like one character and I said that's the closest to me in this movie, I don't have one that's like that. AJ might be halfway there, but you know, I'm not putting quarters and gluing them to the floor for artistic kind of value, right?
Yeah.
My art was singing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Maybe there's some combinations of some of these characters that I can, maybe the Renee Zellweger because I was kind of a slut. No, probably not Renee Zellweger.
Oh my goodness. I almost want to dive into that question a little more, but I won't. I won't.
No. I won't. No, I'm just saying, and maybe because this is mid-90s, this is when he's going to school and stuff like that. I'm 23 when this movie comes out. I still like the music. I'm still into the music, but I just don't connect with these people because they don't listen to the music that I listen to. They don't talk about the movies that I watch. They don't talk about the problems that I was facing. But like I said, each character might have a little bit here and there, but it's just not one character. I mean, Deborah maybe feels isolated, and I could feel isolated at sometimes. But she also had a boy that she was dating that. Their relationship it seemed like something happened there and we don't know what happened there.
With Herm Burko, yeah.
Yeah, we really don't know what transpired. I don't know if he broke it off with her or whatever the case may be.
Way
cheated on her.
To go over that minute there, Ken.
I know, right?
I also, if I'm keeping it 100, I had a really big connection to Deborah in that way too, psychologically.
Okay. So. Cool. If you could rewrite one scene in this movie, what scene would that be? Yikes. You don't have to do a why, just that there's something you would change. I know, Ken, you've alluded to a few things earlier on about the Rex Manning's
Sexy
assistant
Rexy.
Stuff. Yeah, Sexy Rexy. So,
yeah, I think I would develop the relationship stories a little bit better.
Okay.
Even with AJ and Corey. I feel like that was kind of, I think the love stories were kind of forced and not fully drawn out. All of a sudden she loves him too. Oh, when did she get that realization that she loved him? At no time in this movie that I didn't see that realization.
What always confused me, and it even confused me when I was watching it for the podcast, because it doesn't sync to me, because all of a sudden she comes back and asks for a job like she's known Joe for years.
Exactly.
It's kind of weird that way.
That's why I'm saying that this was supposed to be a 2-day thing. I wonder, like, throughout those 2 days, did they connect in certain ways? Then I could buy that at the end.
They would have to, right?
There's a lot of cards left on the table here.
There's no conversation between the two almost throughout the whole movie, except for when she quits.
Right. And he says, "Oh, you can't quit." It's like, okay.
There's nothing in between that. That's the thing. If there was some like development, like they hit it off, she talked about, being on the road with, Rex and all this other stuff and what her loves and desires are, and he could relate. Right. None of that happened. Yeah. So if I had to change anything, it would be to either add more to that or get rid of it completely. There's just no reason to have it in there at all if you're not going to develop it.
At 90 minutes, we're kind of stuck at 90 minutes, where a lot of these characters don't get fully fleshed out.
That's why you could use 15, 20 more minutes. This doesn't need to be a 2-hour epic, but
at the very least,
there's some things you can cut
I think
here.
I think 2 hours is like the golden.
I think though in
number.
the mid 90s, I think they wanted to keep it around the hour and a half, hour and 40-minute type of idea.
So they could run it 10 times a day.
Yeah, but there's some fluff here that could be like trimmed out. One character we really didn't talk about was Warren here. I kind of like the stuff with Warren a little bit, but I think they
until it comes back with the gun.
Yeah, the gun thing bothers me a lot. I don't care. I don't care for the gun thing at all.
That is out of left field.
Yes.
And we're talking pre-Columbine about him coming back with the gun.
Yeah.
I would
and they
kind of
treat it like a joke. They almost kind of treat it like it's nothing.
Yes.
And
that's a little disturbing.
I mean, it could get really dark if Warren got shot. What if Warren got shot because he's got this gun, right?
I'll give you one reason why Warren didn't get shot. Because he's white. That's why he didn't get shot.
Gosh. There's no black people in this
there is no black people in this movie, so there is no rap or R&B or anything.
But
the blackest person in this movie is Jimi Hendrix singing "Hey Joe."
So that's the thing I would do. That's my biggest thing outside of the romance. Warren's, I think they concentrate too much on Warren.
He has a way too big part.
He has way too big of a part. Exactly.
Yeah, for a shoplifter, they're just holding on to.
And didn't have to come back with the gun. Like I said, use that time that you gave to Warren to flesh out some of these other stories out a little bit better. And you could have still kept it at an hour and 40.
Where I think that's where that 40 minutes is.
Probably.
Where that everybody else gets fleshed out. And we're stuck with knowing all this shit about Warren, who we don't give a shit about.
I can understand why the critics didn't like this movie, because the characters are not fleshed out. The only one that has a good character arc is Deborah. I like Lucas. Lucas is good too. I'll give that. But everybody else, it's not really fleshed out very well. Why does Corey love Rex? Why
because she watched his TV
Daddy
show.
Daddy issues.
Daddy issues.
Maybe pull that out a little bit more into this, right? You know,
it's subtle. It's subtle. You have to think about it, but it's there.
It's there, but it's not fleshed out well enough, right? Giving Renee Zellweger's character the slut, thing, it is so, that's just so generic to do that. It's so used so often, and I don't know. I would have loved to see, a little bit more about her ambition. She wanted to be a singer, right? And then we get to see her on top of the rooftop, but that's kind of like almost it. I would have loved to see it a little bit more drawn out of what she's struggling with. I feel like we didn't see anything that she was struggling at until their fight broke out between, her and Liv Tyler's character. Then they resolved their issue so fast. I mean, I thought 2 days maybe would have worked a little bit better here than a short 1 day period. But
yeah, I'd have liked to have seen the characters more, have a little bit more depth.
Okay. Well, for me, I wanted an R rating with more nudity. I think that would have been a huge improvement, and probably more people would have watched the movie. So let's end this with one final question. I'll give you a wild card. We'll call it a day. Bring up anything you want. Is there something we didn't discuss? Something you want to talk about more?
I'm kind of surprised how I liked this movie. And when Ted did his little, game show thing last week for us to choose which movie we were going to do, I was excited to do this. I'm kind of a little bit surprised how I feel about this movie when you dive a little deeper into it.
You wanted more nudity too, didn't you? Yeah, I know.
Side boob.
Yeah. More than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted an R because let's be honest. I joke about the nudity. Do I? Maybe. I don't know. But when you're talking about a record store, a PG-13 rating. I'd like it to be a little bit more realistic how people talk in a record store environment. Let's be honest.
I do like those booths though, where you have all these different people doing different
booths?
things.
Yes.
Yeah, you had that one girl crying to the Carpenters.
Right.
I love that. That was
yes.
hilarious.
Yes.
For me, that was like one of the funniest parts of the movie. And you have the couple that are making out, and some people look like they're really seriously listening. Those was what happens in recording booths. I remember walking past recording booths and the side of my eye seeing somebody making out with somebody else in the booths. I never saw anything really sexual outside of that, but that was kind of cool. I think I would have loved to seen a little bit more true things that happen in record stores. People debating about music between customers and employees, or customers, and other customers. Like you have two people that come to the record store and they're talking about an artist. They're like, yeah, he sucks. No, he's great. Whatever. And then you have,
especially in an independent store,
and then you have an employee comes in and be like,
you're both wrong.
You're both wrong. So. I just would have liked to see more of that. I think I love the idea of this movie. I think I love the idea of this movie more than I love the movie, actually.
There is a lot of awkwardness to it, that some of it doesn't add up and everything like that.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's roll into our reviews here. Let's kick it off with the man who brought us this movie, Ted.
I like this movie.
It's 5 hooks,
I
isn't
really
it?
do.
Just tell us now.
No,
Okay.
It's not. But there are flaws with it. But I still watch it. I still like to watch it. I still enjoy watching it. I just don't try to think about it too hard. And plus, there's a lot of nostalgia there for me as far as the music goes and everything like that really hits that sweet spot for me. Taking the nostalgia out of it for me, the movie's probably 3.5 or 3 hooks, because it's not necessarily that good of a movie. But be bringing the nostalgia, and I do like what we know about the characters, and I love their interactions. I love the sarcasm. It brings it up to, for me, it's about a 3.75.
Ken, what's your review?
Kind of similar to what I was saying towards the end of this. It's a movie that I like the idea of this movie more than I like the movie itself. However, there's things that I really enjoy about this. First of all, I'll take Ladies of the Mid-90s for 500, Liv Tyler, Renee Zellweger, and Robin Tunney.
You are correct.
These are very attractive ladies back then, and they were reasons why I would watch movies with them in it in the mid-90s, right? I had crushes on all three of these leading actresses back in that day. So I think that blinded me a little bit to what this movie really was. Ken at 23 loved this movie. Couldn't wait to talk about this movie today. Ken at 53, not so much. Not as much, I should say. There's still some really fun parts of this movie, and we've talked about the characters and stuff like that. I like Lucas's character. I always thought Lucas was kind of a cool, offbeat kind of guy, and I still think I enjoy that character. I didn't even think about the fact that him and Joe might have a father and son relationship possibility. I didn't even think about that until I watched this movie again this time around. I just think that this was very underdeveloped. Cutting 40 minutes from this film sounds like it took the heart and soul out of this movie, and that it could have been so much more. I think I'm going to go with Ted on this as well, because going into this movie, I thought this was going to be a 4-hook movie easily, but the more I talk about it, the more I wanted to bring it down from its 4-hook movie and down to a 3.75. It's a movie though that I would see again though. That's the funny thing. It's we talked about the last movie, Stand By Me, which is a far superior movie, but I have no intention of ever watching again. And this movie is not that, and I want to see it again down the road. So I'll stay with 3.75, but I could bump it up to 4 just because the soundtrack and just the idea that it, like Ted said, nostalgia, it makes me wish that we had a record store like that right now that I can walk into and have those conversations with, other customers and employees and things of that nature. And just, there was almost nothing better than going to a record store in the 80s and 90s. It was like the thing that you look forward to doing the most.
You guys couldn't have summed it up better if I spoke it myself. So I agree with both of you. The movie is not a great movie. It's got a lot of holes. It's got a lot of flaws, but damn it, it's a fun movie to watch. Just watch the thing. Don't analyze it. Move forward. Have a good time. And you're right. Nostalgia plays a huge, huge play in this movie. But am I going to watch it again? Oh, yeah. It's a fun movie. If it's on, I'm going to watch it. But you're right. We're not talking about Academy Award winning material here. I agree with you guys. 3.75, maybe a 4, depending on my mood. But it's still a watchable movie at 3.75. So, hey, we're all on the same page. That never happens. How about that? So, Ken, what movie are we doing next?
All right. It's back to the game show here.
All right.
So I'm going to let Eric and Ted here pick a number between 1 and 25. And then I'll reveal what those movies are. And then we'll do the theoretical coin flip. Pick a number.
All right, man. Blackjack, baby. 21.
All right. Ted, pick a number.
7.
Okay. Ted's pick is going to be Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Calm the fuck on.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
The funny thing is they're all Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Right.
And Eric's pick is a movie called The Shadow.
The one with with Baldwin?
Yes, with Baldwin.
You made me watch that once. I remember that movie.
Now, if you
God,
guys,
we fucking struck the hell out.
No, we didn't. Oh, no. All right, what's our next move? What do we do? Flip
well,
a
we
coin?
can do a coin flip unless you guys like one of those two movies. You guys agree on those two movies, and you can go with that, or what's behind the door.
I don't think we're going to agree.
Yeah, let's flip.
I don't think I know his hatred of Star Trek, and I have no desire to see The Shadow. So I guess we'll go with the flip.
You want me to?
All right. As
you
much
want
as
me to
I'd
do
love
the-
to do Wrath of Khan.
go ahead and do the flip there. Eric, call it.
Heads. Is that
It's
tail?
heads.
All right.
It's
Sweet.
Heads.
So right
It's
now
me.
it is the Shadow.
What?
Right now it's the Shadow because you
Oh,
got the
okay.
Shadow. He got Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. You
List.
can go behind what's between door number 1, 2, or 3, or you can keep the Shadow.
Well, I can't lose here. Either anything I pick is going to be better than The Shadow. So I will
Oh.
pick door number 3.
Door number 3 is Ocean's 11.
Well,
Now we're talking.
Yeah, baby.
Good
Which one?
pick, Eric.
Which one? Is it the 99 Ocean's
Yeah.
11? Okay.
Yeah, it's the Clutie version. You're going to be a little disappointed when you hear what door number 1 was, I think. Airplane.
It's okay.
Door number 2 was my favorite year.
I can't lose on
So-
all 3 of them. They're all winners in my book.
Yep.
So you guys did much better. You did much better on the what was behind the doors.
Well, and anything would have been better than The Shadow. I'm sorry. So, okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Ocean's 11.
Ocean's 11,
Beautiful.
Can't wait.
Ocean's 11, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, the
Sweet.
whole gang. What a cast. What a cast.
Hey, the gang's all here.
Hey, I'll play my card
No,
early
wait
on this
till I
one.
read that cast list.
I saw this one in the theater.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Me
Okay.
3.
There we go.
I
Do
saw
we even
all
want
three
to
of them
do
in the
this? I
theater.
think we're all going to give this one a pretty high rank. But all right.
Yeah, probably.
That's cool, man. Ocean's 11. Beautiful. Well, I guess that's all the time we have here on this episode of Hooked on Movies, a podcast. And as always, everybody, slap and tickle.
See you at the movies.
See you next time on Hooked on Movies.